What's up, guys? Welcome to another replay analysis where today we're looking at Platinum Protoss. It's Platinum Protoss versus Terran. And our boy Pixel here is wondering why the hell is this game not just giving me wins all the time? I pick Protoss. I should be winning every game. That's what the box said. But no. Not until you learn the ways of macro can you then a move. Alright, so let's help him out. Let's figure out what's going wrong. Alright, so he's scouting off of a pylon. Okay, first things first, Pixel, honestly. Scouting off of a pylon, not the greatest. And let me tell you why. If you scout off of a pylon, it is incredibly detrimental to your economy. It really is. Because you're sacrificing so much of your potential mining so early. Like, the best way to describe it is like this, okay? This probe right here on a unsaturated mineral line, it's not fully saturated yet. This probe could have been like 8% of your mining, essentially. And just imagine if you went to work and they just told you, hey, guess what? You're getting an 8% pay cut. Would you be like, I won't even know the difference? Or are you going to be fucking pissed? You're going to be like, what? You're taking away 8% of my money? They're like, yeah, we just decided to take away 8%. You'd be fucking furious. Well, guess what? That's the same thing happening to your base right now. You're taking away like 8% of your economy right off the bat. And it fucking sucks because that's going to slow down your whole build now. You will overall get back to where you want to be at some point, but this is not worth it unless this is the only. Here's the kicker. Here's the difference. The only way that you can really argue that a pylon scout is worth it is if you're going to do something aggressive. Like if your plan is to disrupt your opponent's build, like steal their gas, like cannon rush them, like block their natural and then hit them with the depths, something like that. Otherwise, you should be gateway scouting because it really hurts your economy. It just slows you down. Because now here's what's going to happen too. When you scout him, I mean, he walled you out though, so that's a thing, right? But even if he didn't wall you out, there's so little that you can see right now anyways. Like, if you really want to see more of what's going on, you'd have to stay here for a while. About the only thing you're going to notice is like again, you're going to see some stuff. Like, is he proxying you or not proxying you? But realistically, if you gateway scouted, this is the big thing you got to understand. If you pylon scout or if you gateway scout, your probe will get across the map to his base before your gateway is done. So if you pylon scout, you get there way before the gateway's done. And if you gateway scout, you'll get there just before the gateway's done. And the reason why is because the reason why I know this is to go from right here to go to right here is 30 seconds. This is how almost every map in the ladder pool works, by the way. It's always really similar to that. So if you know that it's a 30-second travel time to go from where you built your gateway to go to where his ramp is, your gateway is a 46-second build time structure, so you still have like 16 seconds to react to something that is aggressive. And you're still, like, the point is you're not going to make a reaction right now that you wouldn't have made off of a gateway scout. That's going to save you the game. So it's just worth it to gateway scout. I'm just trying to convince you that it's worth it, and it's not worth it pylon scouting unless you're going to be aggressive. Aggressive play with pylon scout is totally fine, but I would not recommend aggressive play like that for platinum players. It's really hard to do that properly. Like, you'll fuck it up all the time. Like, it's something that even like masters players are bad at. Because it makes you have to multitask in the game so early. And then it just increases the chances you'll mess up your build. So like your probe's like taking a second lap, right? It's going all the way down, then coming right back up. So this is what I mean by like the fact that it's so early. I agree that you're staying here a little bit longer now to figure out what's going on. But this is so much wasted mining time. So not a huge fan. Now let's talk a little bit more about your first initial scout and what that could mean. Like what you saw. Okay, so you get to his base and you see. Okay, you got a barracks and 2 depots. Now look at his barracks and look at your gateway. They're about the same exact ish, right? And here's a cool thing you can do too. You want to know something cool you can do? If you put your gateway on like group 5 or group 3 next to your nexus, essentially, you could literally, while looking at his base and looking at his health bar of his building, hit 3 or 4 without even looking at your gateway. You don't have to go like this. Comparisons. I'm comparing the two. Yes, okay, yes. Like, you don't got to do that. If you just hit the hotkey of your gateway, while having your eyeballs look at this health bar of the building, you can go, okay, that looks like it's maybe like 30%. And then you would hit this hotkey while you're looking at your probe and go, yeah, that looks also like it's about 30%. And you could judge off of this bar and this bar that they're the same exact thing. And you could know that that tells you what build he's doing, which is he's gone for a depot racks right off the bat. This is not barracks number 2. There is no proxy racks. There is no command center first. There's nothing fucking weird going on. It's exactly the same as what you're doing. The only difference now, though, is that he's gone for a second depot really fast. And look at your supply. Your supply in the top of the screen right here is not even close to supply blocking yet. So you know for a fact that the fact that this guy is building a second supply depot as well right now means that this dude is... Obviously, he doesn't want you to scout his base, which is why he's building it. But his supply is not close to blocking either, because Protoss actually scales supply a little bit faster than Terran does, just because of the fact that you have Chrono Boost. But this dude, whatever he's going to build is delayed. Straight up. Like, if he's going to build a command center after the racks, it's delayed. If he's going to go for tech after the racks, it's delayed. Anything he's going to do is now a little bit delayed because he doesn't need that depot this fast, and it's slowing down whatever he does want to make afterwards. So, again, the best way to describe what I would see here if I were you would be identical build, and he's going to be a little bit behind now, whatever he wants to do, because he's going second depot so fast. I hope that makes sense. So, because, again, you don't know if he's going to tech or you don't know if he's going to expand. But if he's going to do either one, it's going to be behind you. Because you're not going for a second pylon right now as well. To be like, well, I want to go for a Nexus, but let's make pylon 2 really fast. So it's deviated. It's a little bit slow. It's all you got to know right now is it's a little bit slow. And then follow up with like a hallucinated Phoenix Scout or something like that after to confirm what it is. And you'll still have plenty of time to react to it. But this is inefficient. There's a positive and a negative here. The long story short, the positive is you can't scout anymore. The negative is whatever it is inefficient. So it's less threatening no matter what it is now. But there is still a question mark to be like, well, what is it? And that's why your sentry can figure that out later. And then your probe comes back here and chills. I would say at this point, you took a Nexus, right? I would say after you took a Nexus, like 10 seconds after you took a Nexus, I would tell you to check the ramp one more time and then just fucking leave. And the reason why is because you know that if this guy is going to take a command center, it's going to be a little bit delayed. And if 10 seconds has gone by and he still doesn't have one right there, because if you're both going racks command, or sorry, depot racks command center and you're going pylon gateway Nexus, if he still doesn't have a Nexus started by like after 10 seconds into your Nexus production time, just fucking leave his base. It's not even worth it to stay there anymore. Because if he's going to build a command center like way up here, that's not great for him. And if he doesn't have a command center like right there or like right here or right here, he's probably teching. Probably. And either way would be totally fine. Just make a sentry second. I would say Stalker first and then go into Sentry second. Stalker first is great because you can deal with the Reaper. I hope that makes sense though. But like your probe being here the whole time is not necessary. It doesn't change anything. It's just wasting your mining time. Again, this is like slowing your build down. Because, pause it one more time and say this. If you know your opponent's build is inefficient, you can still be wrong and still win the game. Because if your build is efficient and you just have an efficient build versus a non-efficient build, you have a higher chance to win the game regardless. And the way your opponent is opening up is so fucking inefficient, and just so far. It's not like, it's like really early and he's already deviating his build a little bit. So it's becoming inefficient already. And yours is honestly inefficient too because of your probe. But if your probe was less inefficient, your build would be great. You would just have, because again, this probe has probably wasted an extra like 30 seconds of mining that it shouldn't have wasted already in the first 2 minutes of the game. And that's just more money you could have had. Not the hugest deal, but it is a little bit of a deviation for you. Okay, another thing you need to be doing, for sure, is, let me go back to watch your chronos. Your chrono's a bit fucked up. So first chrono should happen right as like you throw it on the gateway. You do it. Good. And then chrono number 2 and 3 should happen simultaneously right as your core is done. So you should be going Nexus and then come back and build a core. Correct. And then you should build a gas. Okay, you went pylon then gas. You should go gas then pylon. Not the hugest deal, but you should go gas before pylon. You won't supply block if you do it when you have the money properly to do it. And right now, you should be starting a Stalker, Warp Gate, and double chrono boosting your Nexus and your Gateway. You have exactly enough for it pretty much too. You should be double chronoing your Nexus Gateway right now. And you're not chrono boosting at all. So then here's the problem. If you don't chrono boost, if you do not chrono boost your gateway, like if you don't chrono boost your Nexus, you're just going to be a little bit behind on probes, right? That's just all that is. Which, again, it just like this one did, it slows your economy down. This is another thing that's slowing your economy down. Because you're not chrono boosting your probes at this point anymore, and you should be. This is risking your probes. You're not chrono boosting the Stalker, and if this guy opened up Reaper right away off of... Because his build is very Reaper possible. There's potential of Reaper. It is platinum, so I'm not going to say everyone goes Reaper there, but once you start playing Terrans who on the regular open up Reaper first, it happens a lot because it's a good scout for Terran. If he opens up Depot Racks and then goes immediate Reaper, the Reaper will be in your base if you don't chrono boost for like 10 seconds without a Stalker active. And the reason why that is because if you chrono boost, a Stalker's build time goes from about 30 seconds to about 20 seconds. And then you have a your Stalker will like literally pop out of the gateway as the Reaper would be like right here. Like the Reaper will be like in your base just about to get to your probes and suddenly the Stalker pops out. If you chrono boosted the second and your core was not delayed for whatever reason. So that's scary as fuck for you because if you really think about it, you could potentially lose like 3 or 4 probes. And how fast the Reaper could kill like 3 or 4 probes if he's good at focus firing or he doesn't like miss-target your probes a lot. That is a massive amount of damage you could take upon yourself if you don't chrono boost the Reaper. So you just really, really, really need to chrono boost the Stalker. Sorry, you just really need to chrono boost the Stalker. It's so risky not to do that against Terran. You're making pylons way too fast. Are you going Robo? Is this beta GM?
Not the probes.
I want to see your build. Your build's getting way off now. Okay. I'm going to actually fast forward it for a minute. I want to see what your build looks like. I want to see if you're a beta GM player. Or what you're doing. Is this beta GM? I mean, you can tell me in chat as well. It doesn't look like it anymore, honestly. Like, this build is very off base if it is supposed to be beta GM. I'm just making shit up. Okay, do you want me to... So, what is your goal? Do you want to play like beta GM, or do you want to have a specific style in mind? Just to really quickly ask you a question. Because right now, what you're doing is... You're lopsiding your production so fucking hard right now. You're adding in a lot. But you're also at the same time adding in a third base really fast. Like you're making it to where you can't afford everything at once. Like you have... Basically what you're doing, this is the best way to explain it. I feel like that in a simple analogy. If someone gave you like $10 You continuously are trying to like buy shit for like $20 when you only have 10. And you're like, oh, well, I'll put it on a payment plan and I'll just have like interest that I'll have to pay over time. And it just like your build just has these like fucking like you're making everything now when you don't need it yet. And then you're having these like problems that are developing around you over time. Because you won't, your uptime of your buildings is going to be fucking awful. You can't afford it, essentially.
They're attacking our base. Mineral field depleted. The minerals
Okay.
have up and gone.
I'm fast forwarding it. I want to see your style. I'm gonna look at what your end game looks like. I just want to get an idea what you like to use for a composition, because your army makes no sense right now.
Not the pro. The minerals have up and gone.
Okay, well, I have a lot to talk about. We're gonna talk. Trust me, we're gonna come back to this and talk about it. I just want to see what your plans are. Like to me, it looks like you're the kind of player that just wants to go for charge lots, immortals, and blink stalkers. And we're gonna go back and explain what's happening to you, because your composition makes no sense. So there are two ways. There are two ways to play against Terran, okay? Defensively, which is what you're doing. You're expanding, so you're defensively. There are two ways. And you did both, but neither at the same time. You did like half of both. And it fucking sucked for you. So the first way you can play against Terran is you can play with cost-efficient tech. The second way you can, and this is, we're talking defensive, by the way. We're not talking aggressive. We're talking defensive. Cost-efficient tech, usually things with AoE, is a great way to play defensively against Terran, something like a Colossus. This is going to be gateway light, robo heavy in terms of your resource allocation. Like you're going to invest like 50-50 essentially with your gateway to your robo. Like your Colossus are fucking expensive and you're going to make them while also making off like 2 gateways. So it's going to be like 50-50 spread of your resources. That is tech heavy, and that is what you could have done, and that's what you should have done if you're going to go 2-gate robo. More or less. Now, another way you can play it out, is you can go for a council build, and you can go for extra gateways. And if you do that, it's not about the robo anymore. Like, the robo is a supporting unit, sure, like observers or a prism or a fucking immortals, whatever. But it's no longer going to be a 50-50 exchange. You're going to be going mostly on council. Or, sorry, mostly on the gateway. Like, instead of a 50-50 spread, now it's going to be something more like 80-20. Like, 80% of your resources go into your gateways, and 20% of the resources go into the robo. Of overall resources. For the early game investment. And this style makes sense if you're going to go for a lot of gateways, which is what you did. You built like 7 gateways. And if you're going to play that style, you really need to get a robo early. A Twilight Council somewhat early. And you also want to avoid making zealots until you actually are getting ready to go charge. In this game, what you ended up doing, what I just saw, was you open up robo right off the bat, and you start making immortals and stalkers. It looks almost like B2GM to a degree. And then you throw down like 4 more gateways super early. You throw down so many more gateways super fast. And then you can't actually afford it. And then you start making zealots. And you started going for zealot immortal, but you have no council at all. And you also made a forge, so you're like trying to get like weapon upgrade or some shit. But it's whatever. But there's no council, and you're starting to make like slow zealots. And slow zealots are absolutely fucking terrible. And all that happened to you was every time you took a fight with your slow zealots, and your units behind slow zealots was you would run into the Terran. Terran would then kill you as you tried to engage them, and then you'd run back, and then you would lose half your fucking army. So, if you want to go for a gateway heavy build, which is similar to Beta GM series, I'm totally okay that you made Immortals. I don't mind that you made Immortals, and I don't mind that you made more gateways. But you need to do it in a way where you don't make the gateways before you can afford them. Also, I don't have any napkins. Or I need tissues. I'm using fucking Chipotle napkins, and they're really rough on my nose. Fuck. Ow. You need to prioritize a robot, or prioritize a council again. So, black magic spell. The best thing I can tell you as well. Is you have if you really want to do Beta Gym series, there's so many fucking videos that you can watch with my Beta Gym Perdos games. I do because I do the build repeatedly over and 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 over. You could probably watch like 15 different examples against Terran in just my platinum videos alone. But it goes something like this, okay? This is what it's like. 2-gate Robo on 2 bases. Okay? And then it turns into 3 base. 4 base. And then you add on like 10 or 8 gateways to go to like 10. After you're on like 4 bases. And the reason why it works like that, like, so again, you had fucking like 7 gateways on 3 bases. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the only fucking way that you can afford to go for like 7 gateways on 3 bases is if you're gonna stop making probes and you're gonna just make mass units the entire time. Because you cannot afford both constantly. Like if you're gonna crank your gateways out that hard that early, just spending the money that you have on units alone and making pylons to increase your supply count, you would be already tapped as it is to afford that. Because again, there is a golden rule of StarCraft 2 that you have to understand, that everybody has to understand. And I feel like if you are someone who thinks about this, if you actively think about what I'm about to tell you, it opens your mind to like knowing how to play this game properly. And what this is if you look at your gateway, look at where the green box is. Imagine if there was a number in this green box that it represented a percentage of the uptime of the building, of how active you kept this building going throughout the entire game. And with what you did, I feel like your buildings are going to have very low uptime. It's just because you make so many, you cannot afford it. You could say the same thing about every other building. You could say the same thing about not only your gateways, but your other gateways, your Robo, your Nexus, anything that's supposed to be building units constantly. You want to be as close to 100% as you can possibly be at all times. And if you do 2 gateway and a Robo on 2 bases, and you keep 2 gateways and a Robo all the way to 3 bases, and then on 4 bases, and then finally, after you have like 70 fucking probes, you then add on 8 more gateways, you're going to have like 100% uptime doing that. Pretty much. Because you can afford to make the probes while you maintain production on a little bit of production. 2-gate Robo. But if you go for like 6-gate Robo and then go for a 3rd, you cannot afford to fucking expand properly. Because watch, even before you get attacked, I guarantee, like your Nexus, for instance, are going to have idle time, or your gateways are going to have idle time. There's going to be tons of idle time throughout this game. You're doing too much that you can't afford. So like, here's an example. Let's just watch the gateways first. Watch the gateways. Your warp gate's done, right? First warp gate's done at 4:03. How long goes by before you make a unit? Your second gateway, by the way, finished at like 4:20 or so. You still haven't made a unit yet. 4:03 your gateway was done. Okay, you made a unit at like 4:37 or some shit like that, like 3 seconds ago. So, or 5 seconds ago. So 4:35. You made a unit at 4:35. So from 4:03 to 4:35, you made nothing. That's fucking like 30 seconds, half a minute of not using your building. That is really shitty uptime. And I know you're attacking your opponent and you're trying really hard to be annoying. And you're multitasking. You're being aggressive. But again, if you're trying to really maximize your build, this is fine, but this is priority. Like, and also you're making zealots. I don't know. So this is not fine for the units you made, but it's fine for the fact that, okay, let me just start over because it's sounding confusing now. And this is fucking garbage is what I'm trying to say. Don't make zealots this early. It's really bad. Zealots suck cock if they don't have charge. They're so fucking terrible. Really, really, really bad units. Once they have charge though, suddenly they're amazing. So you need to be making stalkers constantly. Something better. Or like stalkers, adepts, a sentry. Something that is not a zealot. A zealot without charge is such a piece of shit. And again, I already know your build is like chaotic because you're trying to be aggressive. This is secondary to this is primary. Like what I'm saying is your macro is primary.
Invibe your coin from rally.io.
Oh, Jake, thank you, man, for the 2 Vibe coin. Much love, dude. I deleted your too short thingy. Thank you, man. Much love. But yeah, no, like the aggression's okay. I'm not saying it's like you're definitely fucking him over too. You're being annoying. It's just I can already see you're fucking your own build up to a degree as you attack. And now watch your gateways. Your gateways are off cooldown at 4:58. At 4:58, you're off cooldown. Remember that, okay? 4:58, you're off cooldown. How long does it take you to build units again after you made those 2 zealots? Okay, you just made units 5 seconds ago. So you made units at 5:11. So you waited 13 more seconds again. 13 seconds to make a unit. Gateways can pump out stalkers every 23 seconds. See how the cooldown or fuck, move my mouse. Right there. Right there. That thing right there. Every 23 seconds you can make a stalker. And you just waited for 13 seconds again. You waited for 30 seconds the first time, and now you just waited for 13 seconds the second time. Not ideal. You're missing a shitload of your production time, which is why this is the classic fucking problem everybody has in Platinum and below, is your uptime of your buildings is hot garbage right now, and your money gets high as a result of it. So what do you do with that money? You just make more buildings. Everybody fucking does this, and it is the pet peeve of StarCraft. It's like the thing that will never make you a better player. You have to be more active about being on point with your production and less about spending the money that you just don't like. Let me say it like this. A lot of people think StarCraft 2 goes something like this in lower leagues. They don't spend their money. They don't spend their money. They don't spend their money. Now they have a lot of money, and then they spend all of it at once. It would be like this is the logic that it would be like, okay? It's like there's a lot of similarities to real life finances to StarCraft 2 economy. Imagine that you have a job that gives you Koopa, thank you for the dono.
Invibe your coin from rally.io.
Thank you, dude. I'll mark you down after this. Thanks, man. Welcome to the free for all. Imagine you have a job that pays you like I don't know, $3,000 a week. Or, no, $3,000 a month is what I meant to say. Like $3K a month. You're working a job that gives you $3K a month. And then, let's just say, you are like, okay, you know, I'm making $3K a month, hell yeah. And then, let's say 3 months goes by. And now you have 9K. Now you have 9K. So you've saved up all the money over 3 months. And then you go buy something. Doesn't matter what it is. Insert whatever thing you can think of in your brain. You go buy something, and then the person who sells it to you says to you, all right, this is going to cost you $7,000 a month to maintain. And then you're like, yeah, I got 9K. I can afford it. And you afford it for the first month. And then suddenly your 9K turns into 2K because it costs 7K to do it month to month, right? And now the second month that comes by, now you only have 5K. And it costs 7K to maintain what you just purchased. Now you have to fucking get rid of it because you literally can't afford it. And you're like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, I probably shouldn't have spent all my money when I could only afford a fraction of what I actually am spending here. And I hope I didn't confuse anyone or lose anyone there, because it's the same fucking thing that happens in StarCraft. You can only afford a certain amount of production off of your base. For instance, if I tell you you can only afford 4 production buildings per base, and a robo is actually a double building. A robo counts for 2. You can't fucking afford to throw down more production before you have more bases saturated. Because if you do that, it like, I feel like this is so easy to understand, but I feel like it's confusing to people. Like, I don't know. Let's use easier numbers. Let's use easier numbers. You have to like save up X amount of income to be able to then dump it into your production, and then you spend it all, and then you have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and then you get enough, and then you dump it all again, and then you wait and you wait. All it does, long story short, all it does is it guarantees that you are not going to have 100% uptime on all of your buildings. You will not have that. You do not want to invest into a building that will not be utilized. It is so fucking much of a waste of your money. It is a big ass waste. You only want to buy buildings that you can actually utilize. So you're just doing too many too fast. This is the point I'm trying to make here. And then he just killed your observer, unfortunately. But then he loaded up his medevac and lost the Widowmind. He has an armory too, because that Widowmind was cloaked. Silly Terran. Okay, so let's go back and let's watch your gateways again after you made the last 2 stalkers. Just one more time. One more time. So you just made 2 stalkers, right? Now look at your gateways. Watch your gateways. 2 gateways are ready to go again. Because they just finished like just as you made those stalkers. So 2 gateways are not being used. And 2 gateways are on cooldown. And we'll see if 23 seconds goes by. Which means it's a full round of stalkers you missed right there. And I know you're dealing with Widowmines, so you're being pressured. I get it. But now you've missed an entire round of stalkers on 2 gateways while you made stalkers off of 2 other gateways. Now at 5:38, how much time goes by before you make more stalkers? 5:38. Not the probes. And now you're making more gateways. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the biggest problem of lower level players. They always fucking do this. It's exactly what we just talked about. You don't fucking use your buildings. Your money grows. And you decide, I gotta spend my money. Let's make more buildings. Everybody fucking does this. You still have not used any gateways yet. 5:38. Oh, here we go. One got used. Literally 1 gateway got used.
They're attacking our little probes.
And now it's been a full minute right now. So in the 1 full minute, you managed to make 1 zealot. And you made, out of 4 gateways, soon to be 6 gateways, you made 1 zealot. And you want to know something crazy? This is real, okay? A zealot has a 20-second cooldown, not a the 23-second cooldown. So you could make 3 zealots per gateway per minute. So if you have 4 gateways, you can make fucking 12 zealots. You could have made 12 zealots in that amount of time. And you want to know what 2 gateways up here represent? That's 3 zealots in terms of cost. Like, it's just not utilizing your production. You have to make shit out of what you have. And now you make 3 units, buy it in 3 gateways, and then one of your gateways sits there idle again. Right? It's going to keep happening. I already know what's going to keep happening. It's literally, this is, and then when everyone says, if anyone ever is wondering, like, how do I get better at StarCraft? And everyone's always like, macro better. This is exactly what the shit they're talking about. Now, 703, okay? We haven't even calculated every exact second of every Nexus. But let's just, like, the gateway just came off cooldown. Now, from 703, how long goes by with 6 fucking gates before we do something with it? 703. Okay, you made something at... these are fast weapons, so it's going to be a little... It's not actually 6 seconds ago. That's like 2 seconds ago. So, like, around 7:15. So, it's like, again, like, 7:03 to 7:15 is like 12 seconds. That's like another... It's, again, almost a little bit more than half of a zealot. And you're making zealots. So, you missed, like, 55% of what a zealot could be built for. Ish. It's not exactly 2 seconds either. It's like, it's hard to predict that exactly. But, yeah, it's around 2 seconds. But you see what I mean, though? Like, you need to be, like, able to go... You need to be checking your production cycles a lot more often. And you need to be using them a lot more often. And then you need to also be, like, just producing out of what you have more often. That's really all it comes down to. And now, here's the craziest thing of all. Watch this. Let's go back one more time. And let's look at your robo. Let's look at that robo. This is going to be a little bit painful. I already know it will be for you to watch this, but it must be done.
They're attacking our cute little bros.
Okay, robo's finishing. And now watch this shit. Robo finishes at 4:36. Write that down right now. It's important to know that. 4:36. Okay, you made a unit at 4:41. Not bad. You made a unit 5 seconds after the robo was done. Not that bad. Not that bad. It's not great. If it was great, it would be within like 1 second of it being done. But if it's within 5 seconds, that's not the worst. That's like still in the realm of like 80% efficiency. That's not that bad. For the first observer you just made. But how does that continue? Do you maintain production out of this building? My thoughts are going to be no. I know they're not. But now, watch this. When did the observer finish exactly? What second? Your observer finishes at 5:02. So, 5:02. Well, we're not going to write. Don't write it down. I'll remember it. 5:02. 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's watch. How long before you make another robo unit?
Not the bros. They're attacking our cute little bros.
You made an immortal at 6:10. So you waited 1 minute and 8 seconds to make a second unit out of the robo. Now, here's the crazy part about this. An immortal has about a 40-second build time. It's 39 seconds. Okay? So you were just like, which if you add up 2 mortals together, that's 1 minute and 18 seconds. And it took you 1 minute and 8 seconds to make a unit out of the robo again. Which, that's, if you really want to just like make it really easy to understand, you almost missed the same amount of time that it would have taken to build 2 immortals. And you know what 2 immortals represent? 2 immortals represent 550 minerals and 200 gas. Now, if I delete these 2 gateways right here, that's 300 more minerals in your bank, which is going to put you at 670. And if you take 550 off of 670, that's going to leave you with 120 in the bank still. And if you take 200 off of 600, it's going to leave you with 400 in the bank still with your gas on your gas. You could easily afford. You could have easily afforded 2 more immortals. And you could have a 3rd immortal already being started within about 10 seconds. Like, there is so much missed fucking spending going on. And again, everyone that's a lower level player doesn't think about it like this. They always think, I just need to make more buildings. Just really, really, really understand that the way you're going to get better at StarCraft is by being more accurate with hitting your fucking production cycles and not anything else. Nothing else matters. Like, you attacking with 2 stalkers, if the result of that is your whole build gets completely fucking ruined, not worth it. Your production cycle accuracy is what's going to make you better at StarCraft 2. And then, like I said before, if you're going to go for a composition that's mostly gateway based with Zealot Stalker, you really, 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 really need a council. Because look at, like, let's just watch how your Zealots perform here. Let's watch the performance of Zealots. Of slow lots, essentially. Get in there, slow Zealots. Okay, your Zealots engaged. The Marines and the tank and the Liberator all shot at you. One of the Zealots died. Your shield battery just burned almost its entire fucking energy pool to heal up everything that just took damage. It's down to 27 right now out of 100. So you just basically burned your battery. You can still overcharge it, obviously, but your initial use of the battery is gone, and a Zealot died as a result of that. Nothing of Terran died. And now here we go again for round 2. Okay, maybe not. Okay, here we go for round 2. So let's watch slow Zealots at work again, right? So your battery is now pretty much fully depleted. It's looking pretty sad here. And you just lost a Stalker, and your Zealots are getting fucked. And now your Zealots are engaging, right? And then they're disengaging. Now, if you engage, you have a higher chance to win the fight. If you disengage with slow Zealots, you're 100% going to lose the fight. I would say, in this position, a lot of people would look at what's happening here and go, oh, okay, I see why you lost the game. You just keep fucking running in, or you keep running in and out of damage. You just keep getting your fucking face kicked in, and you just keep eating it. Someone's strategy to fight you in a real fight is to kick you in the face, and your counter to that is trying to bite their fucking toes in their shoes. Yet you can't ever get it, because every time he kicks you in the face, another tooth falls out of your mouth. And you're like, oh, well, eventually I'm going to try to gum his fucking feet. Because all my teeth are going to be gone. And your head looks like a gusher. No. That's yeah, that's bad. But that's not even why you lost the game. That's not even why you lost. You want to know why you lost? You're wasting so much fucking time looking at this, and you're building nothing. You have 6 gates and a robo, and you're doing jack shit with those buildings right now. There we go. There's a warp in. But, you know, like, again, this obviously this is like still important. I'm not saying it's not important at all. You're like throwing away units and not building units, and then eventually when lots of shit dies, you just build more units to replace what just died, and you're gonna do it again and do it again. You need to just attack. Like, at this point, you have to realize in StarCraft 2, you have 2 choices. In a position like this right now, you have 2 choices. Number 1, defend your Nexus, because if you don't defend your Nexus is gonna die. Like, the Terran's sieging your base right now. The second choice is go around the siege and counterattack your opponent in a different way. Sack the base, but then do damage to him at the same time. Those are your only 2 choices right now. Like, again, if you want to defend your base too, you could do something like, you know, recall half your army here and flank him. You could do that too. If you're going to defend your base, that's totally fine. Again, you have to, it's like fight or fight later, essentially. Do you want to commit to this fight, or do you want to go around it and fight some, like, later in the game and do counter damage to him while he's setting this up? You have to do one or the other. So one way you could have done it is you could have recalled half of your army this way, and you could have made the tanks no longer splash one direction, but now the tanks have to shoot 2 directions, and their splash gets fucking mitigated because you know, you're spreading your army out more. So you could have done that, or another way you could have done it is you could have literally balled your army up and warped in everything new at the 3rd base, recalled to your third base, and just walked by his army and went to his base and attacked him. You could have done either one of those things. That would have been fine. Either one of those would have worked. Like, to a degree. But I'm going to let you know, if you make mass zealots and they don't have charge, they're fucking terrible. Really bad units. Like, that is a big... Like, I want to give you homework, Black Magic Spell. I want you to go watch Bronze to GM Protoss games that I played. And I always break the build down and I tell you what I'm doing. And do that. Like, your build is so similar to it already as it is. I feel like you're trying to do it, but it's like a degraded, devolved version of it. Because your composition is exactly the same for the start of the game. It's just not correct, though. Like, the way you're going about it is not correct, but it's the same unit composition. Eventually, if you added in Archons, it would be exactly the same. So if you watch that, it'll definitely help you... yeah, I don't like this music. It'll help you get shit figured out. And now, you're kind of just like, you know, allowing him to siege you for so long, and now it's unbreakable because so much shit has already died for you. Like, you've already lost so many things. So much of your army is already dead. And again, when you take the fight eventually, you still don't have charge. So, like, that's awful for you. Because you got to think about it like this. Think about it like this. If you don't have charge... If you don't have charge, you eat so much more damage. Like, okay, I'm going to try and explain this, and I hope it's not like the money thing. I'm going to explain this through StarCraft only. I'm not going to give you an analogy, but I hope it's not like my analogy where people are like, I don't understand. What? You're saying that if I make 3K a month and I want to buy something that costs more than 3K a month, that I can't afford that? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, listen. A siege tank is a unit that hits hard as hell. And it also does splash damage. And your zealots, your army in general, like, basically your zealots will always draw the fire of tanks initially because zealots are your melee unit. So 9 times out of 10, they're always going to be in the front of your army because they're melee. They're not ranged units. Also, when you get charge, they're always going to be in front of your army because they walk faster than everything else because they get a move speed bonus while they get a charge upgrade. It's not just charging only, it's also move speed. It's like a speedling, essentially, with charge. So, what that means is that one thing you gotta understand is that zealots are pretty much always going to be the tank's priority of what it's going to attack. The only way that's not going to be that way, realistically, is if the Terran player himself target fires things that are not zealots. Okay? The Terran player has to micro that, and most players in Platinum aren't going to fucking do that. And when I say most, I mean literally everybody, honestly. Like, no one's going to fucking micro that. Very rare. So, if you so knowing that zealots take the hit is important to understand, okay? It's important to know that. Now, if you don't have charge, your zealots stay balled up, and they not only, number one, that's really bad, they take more shots from the tanks as they slowly engage, because they get from point A to point B slower, and the attack speed of tanks adds up to be more attacks in that time frame. So if a tank can only shoot charge lots maybe twice before they get on top of them, if they're slow zealots, tanks can probably shoot you like 4 fucking times before you actually get on top of the Terran's army. Like, tanks can shoot you a lot more, essentially, because you don't have your charge upgrade. So, number one, you're eating more shots. More volleys are happening to you as you try to engage. The second reason why it's really bad is because when your army is like moving towards your opponent, it's generally going to be pretty clumped up. So you're eating more rounds of splash damage because now if zealots don't have charge, there's a good chance that the zealots are going to be mixed a lot more with your immortals, with your sentries, with your stalkers. Other units are going to be eating splash damage as well, just like the zealots are. It's going to weaken your army overall more because you're going to eat more damage combined through your army because of the splash and your army's so clumped up. Okay, so that's another huge negative there. Now, if you had charge, your zealots will make distance from your range units faster, so your range units will not eat any splash damage from the fucking tank shots because the zealots will be more forward than they are otherwise because they're faster. But as soon as charge happens, charge closes the distance so fucking fast because it goes like at triple speed of the move speed. It's like super fucking fast when the charge happens. It connects to the target essentially. A charge lot is actually the fastest unit moving in the entire fucking game in terms of how fast it goes forward when it's happening. And then when charge ends, and then it's, yeah, speedling's faster than it. But charge is fucking fast. And if you charge your zealots, the AI of how charge lots work is your charge lots do not go all in one blob to one blob. They don't blob forward. What zealots do when they charge is they go like this. Let me give you paint. This is what charge lots do. They do not charge like this. They don't go, okay, zealots charge. And they're like, all right. They don't do that. They don't do that. What zealots do when they charge is they go like this. They go like this when they charge. Okay? This is what zealots do when they charge forward. Your zealots go forward like so, right here. They charge forward. Oops. They charge forward, right? Like that. And then when they get there, they go like this. The blob is right here, and then it goes like this. It literally circumvents the other blob of units. And suddenly, the once circle of zealots has now... Every zealot has now done its own target with its nearest location available to charge. And been like, okay, this zealot right here, this whatever zealot that represents that part of the blob, when he moved forward with the blob, it did not go like this. It didn't go like, all right, now you're in the back still. The zealot in the back went like this. This zealot specifically went like this. He goes forward, the blob's in front of him, and he goes like this. Around the fucking side and gets on the newest target. So you actually spread the blob out super fast, so the splash damage doesn't affect you as hard. And the second thing that it does that's really good is it creates more surface area on top of the opponent's army. So your opponent's army gets splashed more as a result of that. Like, let's not do green. It's too hard to see. Let's do purple. Or yellow maybe? Yeah, yellow's a bit hard, easier to see. So like this yellow is like when tanks are shooting zealots, they're also splashing the side of their fucking marines and shit like that. Like it's actually splashing the center of the Terran's army. So you actually turn the splash from a device that damages you into now like a mechanic that damages the Terran's army. So charge, you need to fucking have charge if you go zealots. You have to have charge. It creates such a positive outcome for your army on top of theirs. It's so fucking important to have. I hope that makes sense. But that is, you're taking the worst fights of your life because like you're, like for just an example, okay? If the fight starts, let's count how many tank shots happen here. So let's look at this tank. Just look at that tank right there. The tank, that closest tank to your army. It didn't shoot yet because it shot the probes. That doesn't count. Right when it shoots the zealots for the first time is what I want to see. Okay, right now. It's going to shoot the first time on the zealots right now. That is one shot for that tank on the zealots. And remember, if you had charge, you would already be charging into the tank and into the bunkers right now. And the second shot would be like, it would get its second shot off and it would just die. 2 shots, basically, and it would be dead. But that's already 1 shot. Now let's keep going. 2 shots. 3 shots. 4 shots. It got like double the shots off. And if all the tanks do that, if there's 4 tanks or 3 tanks and they all get double shots, if they're all getting 4 shots off, that is so much fucking damage that you're eating. And that's how you just die. Like, you can't win when that happens. So, again, if you like, the best thing I can say again is, I do talk a lot about the build, the Protoss playstyle that you're going for in BetaGM series. Highly recommend you go check it out and go study up on it. Like, go actually pay attention to it. Go watch the intro to BetaGM as well for 2021. It's the very first video of the series. It describes what notepad trick means, and then use that yourself to make sure your builds aren't super off base with timers. So you're not like, well, I think I'm doing the vibes build, but you're really 4 minutes behind. It really puts a real estimate of time into the game for you. And time, because time is a valuable number that you need to understand. And if you don't understand what time means, you're going to play every game really bad. in StarCraft 2. Like you're gonna think you're playing away when you're really not. Yeah, really just try your best to spend money. Spend your money, honestly.
Pylon is being roughed up.
Because at this point now, you're very fucking dead now. You cannot break this really. And all he's doing now is he's killing your third base. Like, you are going to slowly die here. And the reason why you're going to slowly die, for anyone who doesn't understand, is the Terran's compromising this base. And the Protoss is mining out of this base. So he's out of money. And there you go. The base is dead now. Mostly. Yeah, look at it. He's pushing again. Yeah, there's no army here for Protoss. The Terran's also fucking blowing his macro too, right? Terran has 3k in the bank. And 800 gas in the bank. He's not macroing very much. It's platinum. It's understandable. But you got to really understand, it's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. It's a perfect example of what I say 5 million times in BetaGM series. Efficiency beats non-efficiency every single time. If anyone in platinum or below can play efficient, 100% guaranteed they're not going to be in those leagues very long. The second you start understanding how to play efficient, like you actually, everything we talked about, like the biggest thing I've talked about this entire game was efficiency of your buildings. These gateways had like 20% efficiency or like 10% efficiency. I feel like there was so fucking downtime, so much downtime on your gateways. Your realistically, your gateways probably had 20%. Your robo had like fucking 5%. Your forge had 0. You didn't even get an upgrade. Or no, you did. Sorry, you did. You did. You actually, I take it back. You got 1 upgrade. I did not see that. But still, like, pretty fucking underutilized. 1 upgrade in 15 minutes is pretty fucking bad. In terms of just like, it just shows that you're not really actively looking at your buildings very much. So yeah, you really need to make sure. Start really trying to understand how much shit costs. And like I said before, this is very huge. Just remember, you can genuinely play 2-gate robo all the way to fucking 4 bases. And then add on a lot of gates. Because if you're spending your money with like 100% uptime of these 2 buildings, or these 3 buildings, 2-gate robo, you will always be able to spend your money as long as you're also making your probes with chrono boost constantly. Like, and you're expanding and you're taking pylons, you're not supply blocking. You will spend your money. And then once you're done making probes, and once you're done making pylons, you know what that means? Those are 2 expenses that get taken out of your investment, and they give you nothing but positive returns. Like, if you have maximum income, and you don't have to keep making mineral investment to make more probes because you're done, you have no downside but maximum money, which is why you have Gateway Explosion then, because you can afford it. Same thing can be said about pylons. If you don't got to make the 20 fucking pylons, which represents 2,000 minerals, because you've already made them already, that's 2,000 minerals that you don't got to spend anymore. And now you can fucking just make more gateways and more units out of your gateways. So I hope that makes sense. It's all about balancing an economy. Like, literally, the key to getting better at StarCraft is learning how to balance your economy. Like, in every way. Like, learning what it even means. Don't spend more than you have. It's like the biggest, again, the biggest analogy I can explain it with, that I kind of did it earlier, and just my final thoughts on this is don't be someone that spends over your budget. Don't be someone that makes enough money to afford something by saving up for it, but then to buy that, you have to be able to afford it every month, and it took you 3 months to get there. Like, you're spending over your budget if you do that. And that's exactly what people do in StarCraft when they save money, and then explode production, and then they're like, well, I can't use it, though. And then they still don't use it, and then what do they do then? They explode production again. It'd be like a guy who works at McDonald's that tried to buy 2 Maseratis. He's like, yeah, you know, I bought 1 Maserati. I saved up for it for fucking 12 years. And then I was broke, like, within the first, like, 3 months. And then I became the manager of McDonald's and I decided to buy a second Maserati, and I'm just like, what? Obviously it's a ridiculous example, but you get the point. It's kind of what it's like. It's kind of what it's like. Like, it's like you cannot afford what you're doing. You just can't afford it. So I hope that makes sense. And I you know, again, Beta Jam will help you understand this so fucking much if you just want to watch that too. It's the only reason why I'm saying watch Beta Jam is because there's so many things I say throughout that series that I can't cover in one replay analysis. This replay analysis would have to be like 30 fucking hours long. To really break down economics of StarCraft, to like really understand like very, very thoroughly. I almost like spit there as I was going to say that. Very thorough explanations. But thanks for doing it, Black Magic Spell. Hope this helps, and I hope this helps anyone out there that's, you know, struggling just like he is. Go watch some Beta Jam series, guys, if you're struggling with you know, learning how to set things up in StarCraft. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, have a great night, have a great day. Much love. Good luck in your games, and see ya. Peace. Goodbye.